What's going on, hybrid shooters? It's Jason and I'm back from Japan. There are a few of you who are asking for a CP Plus recap video, especially those of you who missed out on my Instagram live stream. Cough, cough, don't miss out next time at Jason V Media. So I decided to do a quick video on my experience as well as some of the new gears that I played with while I was there. But in this video, I'm only going to be mainly focusing on Sigma and Sony. So if you have any questions regarding the other things that happen at CP Plus, tune into my live stream tomorrow, February 28th at 8 p.m. PST, and let's talk then. For those of you who don't know what CP Plus is, the actual long title is Camera and Photo Imaging Show, and this camera expo that happens in Yokohama, Japan. And initially I didn't plan on going because I didn't know about it. Luckily, my friend and subscriber Bob told me about it, that this, apparently one of the largest camera expo in Japan, was happening while I was coincidentally in town. So thank you, Bob, I got to experience that. So one of the biggest things that I was super excited for were the new lenses, the new art lenses that are being released by Sigma. However, I only got to play with 2 out of the 4 lenses, the 24-70 and the 135. I didn't play with the extremely long telephoto one, the 100-400, just because I didn't really care for it, and I also didn't play with the 14mm just because it was not available for demo. That one I actually super cared about, but it was unfortunate I didn't get to play with it. But let's talk about what I did play with. For those of you who didn't catch the live stream, I'm partially glad that you didn't, or else you would have saw the massive amount of fail that happened live on camera. Alright, so first off, I was not allowed to test any of these lenses on my A7R II and the MC11 adapter, so I could only play with them on a Canon. The 24-70 was mounted on a 1DX Mark II, which I had absolutely no clue how to operate that camera. I, for the life of me, cannot change it from aperture priority to manual, and even the reps there, well, the ones that were guarding the camera and the lenses, didn't know how to switch it, so I just kind of had to roll with it. So the only performance aspect I could comment on is the focusing speed. It is fast, and it seems accurate, but it's kind of hard to tell on the 1DX screen because I don't know if it's the resolution or something, but it just didn't seem clear, and unfortunately I couldn't put in my own SD card to examine the photos later on. So aside from that, the build actually looks very solid. Compared to the G Master, the art lens feels very tiny and compact. But what really bugged me were the placement of the focus ring and the zoom ring. It's reverse. The zoom ring is on the outer portion of the lens and the focusing ring is in the inner portion, which I don't really remember if the 18-35 art was like that. I don't think so. I think it's the focus ring is on the outside and the zoom ring is on the inside. So I don't know why they chose to build the 24-70 like this. Maybe it's a beta build, but I doubt it. I'm pretty sure the final build will be very similar to what I played with at CP Plus. So there are no words and no availability when it would come out, but the rep did tell me probably sometime in the summer. Alright, next up is the 135mm f1.8, and this one was mounted on the 5D Mark III, which, thank God, I owned the 5D Mark III before, so I knew how to navigate through the system. Again, I couldn't take back any of the images that I shot, but from what I've experienced, the focus was extremely fast and the images look incredibly sharp. It's a lot easier to tell on the 5D Mark III screen. The build is solid. I'm going to go ahead and say it's very similar to the 85-14. The diameter of the 135 maybe a tad bit smaller, but for the most part it's very similar to the 85-14. And the bokeh, I think anybody who shoots a lot of portraits Francisco, will find it to be very, very acceptable. Alright, so moving on to Sony. They didn't announce anything new, nor did they release anything new, but we got to play with the 100mm STF and the 85-18 again, and this time we got to save some of the photos and videos onto our own SD cards. So what I like about CP Plus is that each of these camera brands set up their own studio-like environment where you can test out their products. And Sony has this section in their booth called the Portrait Terrace, where you can test out their portrait lenses and shoot beautiful models. So my experience isn't too drastically different from the time that I played with them at WPPI, but there are a few things that I do want to mention. The bokeh balls on the 100 STF is very, very, very impressive. I really like how they look. They kind of look like fairies, and I really would like to use the 100 STF in some of my videos. But speaking of videos, I think those of you who want to pick up either the 100 STF or the 8518 for video, I'm happy to report that the AF is silent. Now, I didn't do anything too scientific. I literally just took the lens, took the camera, and just pressed it against my ear and just... No noise. No noise. Good, good, good noise. Try to listen for little critter noises, but for the most part, I didn't hear anything. So 70 to 80% sure that the AF is silent, but I will be 100% sure once I'm able to get these lenses in my hands and test it out in a much more quieter environment. So aside from the portrait terrace, there are other sections in the Sony booth that allow you to demo their various products in various situations. For example, there is a tiny little area where you can test out their new flash that's coming out, which is pretty cool. They have some red gels there and yada yada yada. So you get images that look like this. They also built a half-size basketball court there, which is pretty cool. And that allowed you to test out, you know, cameras like the A6300 and the 6500 in a sports-like situation, and also this dark room where miniature train models kind of run around for you to test out the A7S II low light capabilities. Now, that's as much as I'll say about these demo areas because I really don't want to touch up on them too much, but it's nice to have these mock scenarios to test and try out their products before you buy it. And that's pretty much it. I actually shot a lot of B-roll of the Panasonic GH5 and I did want to touch upon it in this video, but I'm choosing to omit it because the last time I talked about the GH5, woo, yeah, but if you guys do want to know more about it or anything else that happened at CP Plus, tune into my live stream tomorrow, February 28th at 8 p.m. PST. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys are awesome. If you haven't already yet, follow me on Instagram at JasonDMedia or find me on Facebook. All the links are in the description box below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace. Sony had this section called a portrait terrace. Terrace.
No.
Terrace. Portrait terrace.